let us go to the formal part of the meeting. The notice of meeting sent or made available to shareholders in late March includes an explanation for each of the resolutions being proposed today. I hope that you've had full opportunity to consider the resolutions and how you wish to cast your vote in respect of each of them. With your permission, I'll take the notice of meeting as read, but I would like to draw your attention to a number of specific items of business. Firstly, in Resolution 1, the directors are proposing to receive and consider the annual report for the financial year ended 31st December 2017. Secondly, Resolution 2 is proposed to approve the directors' remuneration report, which is contained within the annual report. This resolution is advisory only, and it's a means for shareholders to provide feedback to the board. The directors' remuneration policy is being put forward by approval by shareholders as Resolution 3. If approved, the policy will take effect from the conclusion of this AGM and be subject to a shareholder vote every 3 years or sooner if changes to the policy are proposed. In relation to Resolution 4, the directors are, as we've mentioned this morning already, recommending a final dividend for the year ended 31st December 2017 of 19 pence per share, as was set out in the report and accounts. The dividend is payable on the 17th of May to ordinary shareholders whose names are on the register of members at the close of business on the 6th of April. Now, I know that shareholders have in the past raised concerns about a company seeking authority in relation to political donations, which is dealt with in Resolution 19. Again, we have this point every year, but again, I'd like to be clear that it's not the company's policy to make political donations or collect or incur political expenditure, at least as the term is usually known, and it has no intention of doing so. The purpose of Resolution 19 is therefore to ensure that the company does not inadvertently take action that breaches the Companies Act. But as I say, we will not make political donations within the normal meaning of that word. Resolutions 21 and 22 and 24 to 29, I'm sorry there's so many of them, are proposed as special resolutions. Resolution 21 and 22 relate to the disapplication of preemption rights in line with the guidelines to give the board maximum flexibility in order to raise capital. Presently, however, the directors have no intention of exercising this authority. In regard to resolutions 23 and 24, shareholders will perhaps recall that in 2017, we requested shareholder approval for the company to issue Solvency II instruments to support the future capital management of the company, should it be necessary. This authority expires at the end of this AGM, and the board is therefore seeking renewed authority to allow the company to enjoy this flexibility. The board believes it's prudent to have these authorities in place, even though, as before, there's no intention presently of exercising them. Resolution 29 seeks approval of certain amendments to the company's Articles of Association, primarily to reflect developments in technology and to enable Aviva to streamline some of its administrative processes. The changes will enable the company to provide additional opportunities for shareholders to participate in general meetings electronically, but would not allow the company to hold purely electronic, virtual-only general meetings. As to confirm what I said at the outset, we do believe that physical general meetings have a real value for the company. Now, in respect of the resolutions to be put to the meeting, as noted in the notice of meeting and in line with best practice, I am exercising the authority contained in the company's Articles of Association to call for a poll to be taken on each of the resolutions. Any shareholder, proxy, or corporate representative who is entitled to vote will have been given a white poll card at registration. We have again included a vote withheld option on the poll cards for those shareholders who wish to abstain from voting on a particular resolution. However, I'm duty-bound to remind you that a vote withheld, tick in the box, is not a vote in law and will not be counted in the calculation of the votes for or against the relevant resolution. If you've already submitted your votes prior to the meeting by proxy and do not wish to change the way you have voted, you don't need to complete a poll card. If there is anyone present who's entitled to vote but does not have a white poll card, it would be really kind if you could raise your hand and a marshal will bring a card to you. Does everyone who's entitled to vote have their white poll cards? Good. As I've said, I don't intend to read out, you'll be glad to hear, every resolution, but I do now propose formally that each resolution set out in the notice of meeting and listed on the poll card, other than resolution 13, which relates to my own re-election, be put to the meeting as a separate resolution, and that resolutions 21, 22 and 24 to 29 inclusive be put to the meeting as special resolutions. As resolution 13 concerns my own re-election as a director, Glyn Barker, the senior independent non-executive director, will formally propose that resolution, and I now invite Glyn to do so.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you may have seen from reading the report and accounts, Sir Adrian is a very experienced chairman and leader. Throughout the year, he has led the board on a number of very important discussions, including those on corporate culture and ethics, and as you know, he's an avid champion of the Aviva Community Fund. His performance in 2017 was evaluated by the non-executive directors, led by myself as the company's senior independent director, and the board concluded that Sir Adrian continues to provide strong leadership, demonstrates full commitment to the role, and contributes most effectively to the deliberations of the board. I'm therefore very pleased to propose Resolution 13 to re-elect Sir Adrian Montague as a director of the company. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Glyn. Now, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. Please would you now complete the white poll card to register the way in which you wish to cast your votes on each separate resolution by putting a cross in one of the boxes marked for, against, or vote withheld. Let me just remind you, though, that it's only ordinary shareholders who have the right to vote at this meeting. Please could you ensure that you have filled in your full name and address, or the full name and address of the shareholder you represent, if you are attending as a proxy or a corporate representative. Once completed and signed, the poll card should be placed in one of the black ballot boxes marked poll cards immediately outside the auditorium as you leave. Those shareholders who cannot attend today have been voting on resolutions, and the indicative results of those votes submitted by proxy will be shown on the screen shortly. The final results of voting will be announced to the Stock Exchange and posted on the company's website as soon as possible. Now, before we close, there's one entirely different matter I'd like to mention. This year, of course, marks the centenary of the armistice that brought the First World War to an end. The companies that have been brought together to create Aviva lost a total of 925 employees during the conflict. This year, we will be remembering their sacrifice and commemorating the armistice at a small ceremony in front of our headquarters building in EC3, and also at our offices throughout the country. The London ceremony will, I'm afraid, have to be ticketed because of the numbers we expect, but we are reserving a number of tickets for shareholders. Upstairs, you will find our Book of Remembrance, should you wish to look at it, and further details of the ceremony and how to apply for tickets will also be available upstairs. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I will now formally conclude today's meeting. I would like to thank you for attending and remind you to place your completed and signed poll cards in those marked boxes outside the auditorium.